Hey everybody, Mark Edward Lewis here from cinemasound.com. Today we're going to look at the question that we get all the time, which is what shotgun microphone should I buy? We get this a lot, and it's sort of like asking, hey, how long is a piece of string? It depends. Let's figure out how right now. So what is a shotgun microphone? Well, sort of a misnamed kind of thing. You know how a shotgun works, if you've ever shot one, it basically spreads out a lot of little pellets all over the place. Well, a shotgun microphone is the opposite of that. It actually has a narrow, what we call polar pattern, so that it's only sensitive right in front of whatever it is you point it at. You've seen this on boom poles, perhaps, where a really long-looking microphone is pointed at someone, or hopefully two people if they're making go back and forth, not just between them, where you just get a great recording of the floor. Really, we should call them rifle microphones because they're really, they zoom right in on something. The longer the shotgun microphone, the more low frequencies a shotgun microphone can reject. All those little slots and slats that are in there, those actually help and are a part of the rejection process from frequencies that are coming off axis. So which one should you buy? Well, if you're an ENG or reality or, run and gun kind of situation, you don't have time to set up a shotgun microphone on a boom pole or on a microphone stand. It has to sit on your camera. And I don't recommend that you record audio into a camera ever for a lot of reasons, which we get into in the cinema sound education. But if you have to, then you're going to want a shotgun microphone that really isn't that great of a quality. What? Why is that? Well, because your camera is going to make a ton of noise, especially if you're moving it around or there's motors or, God forbid, you're putting it on a red camera, which has a big sound from all the processes that it does. You're going to want a microphone that isn't all that sensitive so that it rejects and is kind of not getting all that noise. You want something that's very, very narrow in terms of polar pattern, a supercardioid, a hypercardioid, or ultracardioid, so that you can reject sound that's coming from everywhere else. Now, here's the problem. If you're doing a single person that you're shooting, a single subject, then that works great. But if you're doing two or more subjects, having a super narrow shotgun microphone on your camera is only going to get the space in between them really well. You want something with a little wider polar pattern, something like a supercardioid, something like this, wider polar pattern. Even though you'll pick up more noise that's around, you'll be able to pick up the two or three subjects that you've got much better than just, kind of getting one or whatever. Now, if you're moving the camera around, good luck. But what's a good recommendation for an on-camera microphone? Well, if you don't want to spend more than $300, the Saramonic Vmic Pro. It's really, really great. It's under $200, AA powered, battery powered, fits, cold shoe, slides it right on there. Nice and narrow super cardioid polar pattern, so it's great for a single person picking up that kind of thing. And it's got a beautiful frequency response. It's a little noisy, but again, for under $300, that's really, really great. And I don't really recommend that you get something more expensive for an on-camera microphone unless you know that you want to use your shotgun microphone for something else. So if you're like, well, I do run and gun, but I also do a lot of stuff on set with the boom pole, then you get yourself a cold shoe camera mount situation from Saramonic. You get it from anywhere if you want, but something that fits onto your cold shoe and then has either phantom power from a battery situation, but has that connector that you can put a real shotgun microphone on. Then get yourself a Tm1 from Saramonic, which is great for dialogue only. It has a kind of a nice tune frequency response to pick up dialogue really well. Has a low frequency cut, has a high frequency boost, a pad, and can be battery powered as well for an incredibly crazy low price. Or if you want something a little more pro for under $400, you can get yourself the Tm7, which is again it is a super, super narrow polar pattern. Rare, almost definitely the rifle microphone has an additional low frequency cut so that you can cut off low frequencies for female voices, which is a little bit more than for male voices. So you get both of those as well. Again, battery powered, great stuff. Can you buy a really expensive shotgun microphone? Absolutely. And if you've got the money, the industry standard thing is still the Sennheiser 416. You got to have that, especially if you're doing any kind of recording where you're a recordist on set. I mean, people want to see, they feel comfortable when there's a Sennheiser 416. They feel like you know what you're doing, even if you don't. Right. But having the gear there helps. Also, Rode makes some really affordable microphones, but be careful about Rode microphones. The NTG4, the NTG2, the 1, those are fine microphones. But the NTG3, remember this, it is actually, they've widened the polar pattern out a little bit. Now it's an $800, sounds, true electret condenser. But that polar pattern is wider. It's not quite super cardioid. It is, but it's a little wider. And they did that so that you can pick up a couple people at the same time, or if you're on a boom pole, not have to be so accurate as you turn it around and find the actors, which is a great idea. Just know that it's not a super narrow polar pattern. And of course, then the NTG8, which is a giant long thing, which is super great, very narrow, beautiful, ultracardioid polar pattern that rejects low frequencies super, super well because it's so big, so big. So that's that. There's a lot of other companies that make a lot of other things, but, Rode, Saramonic, and of course Sennheiser, those are your de facto companies to consider and to base every other microphone against. Now, at the cinemasound.com website, which I hope you come visit very soon, we've taken and recorded in multiple ways many of these microphones so that you can actually just listen to them on our SoundCloud account and hear for yourself how they sound. Piano recording, voiceover, sound effects, and hear their overall noise coefficient as well. So, and if you're doing anything in studio, let's talk about this for just a minute. Like you run a studio, you do vocals and things like this. A shotgun microphone isn't the best kind of microphone to use for musical instruments, although we've got articles at cinemasound.com where we have. You want to use a large diaphragm condenser or even a small diaphragm condenser microphone with a cardioid polar pattern. You can use a shotgun, but the real way you use shotgun microphones in studio is when you're doing ADR. And there, it's really not something that you want to buy. There's no shotgun for you to purchase for in-studio ADR use. Why? Well, because the microphone that you want to use for ADR is the microphone that was used on set for the original recording, and that is just something you're just going to want to rent and then take back, unless you find that your clients constantly come with a Saramonic Tm7 or they constantly come with the 416. Then maybe buying one so you don't have to continue to rent stuff like that. Also understand that the cheaper, and I may have mentioned this a little bit, but the cheaper the microphone is, the more noisy it will be. Expense, a lot of people think that the more expensive a microphone is, the better it'll sound. Well, I guess that's sort of true. Every microphone has its own different sound, and I wouldn't suggest to you that a 416 sounds so much better than an NTG8. No, but I will tell you that a 416 is quieter than an NTG8. In fact, a 416 is one of the more quiet shotgun microphones you can purchase because it is expensive and quite a bit more expensive than an NTG8 and certainly more expensive than a Tm7 or a Tm1. And those microphones have a wonderful sound and they're a little more noisy. But with the advent of, Adobe Audition's denoising, Acusonics, of course, Isotope, a simple noise pass pretty much strips out any mechanical noise of a shotgun microphone, and understand, of course, that shotgun microphones are inherently noisy because of what they have to do by rejecting side frequencies. Hopefully, this has been valuable to you, and if so, please subscribe to us here at the cinemasound.com YouTube channel, and come visit us at cinemasound.com where we have hundreds of thousands, no, just a lot of videos and articles to help you get that unfair competitive advantage in Hollywood production, in immersion for your productions in sound, of course. So we'd love to come see you there. Until then, we'll see you on set.
Even if for yourself.